Hashimoto's thyroiditis is an autoimmune condition that affects your thyroid. I'm Lily from Brown Bear Herbs, and I'm going to give you some information about Hashimoto's and some of the strategies I like to use for treating it. Hashimoto's is pretty common. It affects around 5% of Americans. It is 10 times more common in women. So it's a pretty common disorder in women in the US and worldwide. It can take several years for you to realize that you have Hashimoto's. In the beginning, your thyroid, which regulates your metabolism and like all sorts of functions across your body, it becomes inflamed because your body starts to think of it as a problem. You go into a hyperthyroid status where your thyroid is actually running higher than normal, and you can have a faster heart rate, trouble sleeping, fatigue, feeling better when you're working more. And this is just some information about it. And there are other conditions that can seem similar to Hashimoto's. And then once it's progressed beyond that stage, you can go into a state called hypothyroidism, which is much more common and can last quite a long time and can eventually, it's believed to cause damage to your thyroid. Now, how much damage can your thyroid handle is another question. I had Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and I was on medication for it for probably about 12 years. And I was told by many physicians that I would never get off of medication, and that if I tried to, I wouldn't be able to function properly because the thyroid had been so damaged from all these years of it, et cetera, et cetera. With the help of various people and teachers, I was able to go into remission with Hashimoto's, and I haven't been on medication for about 7 years, and I'm fully functional. So I think there's a lot yet to be discovered about how the thyroid functions. There are other organs that we have, like the kidneys. The kidneys can lose the vast majority of their function before it becomes a problem and it impacts your physical health. It's unknown whether the thyroid is damaged and does not heal, or is damaged and can still function. We don't know. At least I don't think that people know, because I am proof that all those doctors were wrong. You have the hyper stage, and then the hypo stage, your metabolism slows down. You are feeling tired. You're feeling apathetic. You might have a variety of minor infections. Your hair can become brittle. You might look pale and have like a puffier face. There's quite a few symptoms that are associated with it. And then it is very commonly medicated. And once you get the medication, it really does help a lot if you're in that hypo state. It helps with getting your metabolism back up. It helps you not having these minor infections. The part that was hard for me is that I still felt dull and apathetic to a large degree, which is another symptom. And that was challenging. I would say my favorite herb for Hashimoto's, which I learned from Matthew Wood, is black walnut. And I use the tincture of that. It's a pretty specific protocol, but that, and I do work one-on-one with people. That herb, I felt, brought back the mental clarity, or the feeling of like shininess to my mind again. And because I had been feeling like so dull and like, The hardest part about Hashimoto's is the apathy. It's so hard because you have to be very self-motivated to work on it at all. It can be even hard to get like testing done and all this stuff, because talk to a lot of different people and they have that problem where they're just not feeling motivated. I challenge you to push through it if you have this condition. You might already be diagnosed with Hashimoto's, and this is just a little bit more information for you. Now, your thyroid levels can fluctuate quite a bit. We get a test. The tests indicate usually like what was going on several weeks ago. That's kind of not the most specific information. Sure, it gives us a general idea, but it's not telling us what's going on today necessarily. I've seen studies where the levels fluctuated throughout the day. It can be challenging to get even the right treatment with medication. One of the things that I found helpful was working with a pharmacy that would really dial in my dosing, and working with a provider that would narrow down my dosing to what would actually make me feel the best and have my numbers be at the best place. What is considered a healthy, like TSH, for example, varies a lot, whether you're talking to a Western physician or a naturopath or another provider that's not licensed to ask for those labs, but looks at them, like an acupuncturist or someone like that. So I recommend looking at the labs from the perspective of a naturopath, and just to make sure that you're in the optimal range of functioning for yourself if you're on medication. The black walnut is great. I did not get a cure from that. Matthew Wood had said that he had seen black walnut cure many cases of Hashimoto's. I do not know if those were cases of people who'd been medicated already. It's certainly easier if you're dealing with someone who has not been medicated. And I will say that the one problem that I had with curing my thyroid on medication was that when I did cure it, it happened like that. And then I was over medicated all of a sudden. And I was fortunately working with an excellent naturopath, Dr. Krista Barton in Portland, who was able to recognize that that was what had happened, even though my labs still looked like they were, there's that 6-week delay. She just was basing it on my symptoms, and she was like, let's take a break from the thyroid medicine. And then she'd put me back on, and I'd like have the symptoms like go like way up again, where I could not sleep, and just like too much energy. And then she would be like, okay, let's take you off. And then she just decided to take me off altogether. And fortunately, I hadn't have to go back on. When talking to somebody who has Hashimoto's thyroiditis, the main things that I'm thinking about are, is their blood adequately strong? Do they have anemia? Anemia is a really common thread in patients with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. It's absolutely essential that the anemia be treated properly. That can be hard to do with a medical doctor, and you may want to work with the support of an herbalist, a naturopath, or a Chinese medicine provider who does herbalism as well, to get your blood strength up. You need that. And one of the big challenges of being on medications like levothyroxine for thyroid replacement is that interferes with your ability to absorb minerals. So your body is already not operating in an optimal way, and then that medication interrupts or binds with some of the minerals, and it's problematic. That's why you want to take it away from your food. So even though you might be feeling apathetic and like, why does it even matter? Well, it really does, because you need your minerals. And especially if you're taking vitamins as supplement, you want to take them away from your thyroid medication if you're taking any. And please, proper thyroid functioning is really important to your whole body, every part of your body. So it's really important, if you need thyroid medication, to take it, because and just work with a provider who will really get it dialed in and be attentive if you're feeling fluctuations, because it can cause like short-term and long-term problems that are very serious if you're not taking care of yourself properly. Another main commonality is gluten intolerance. The gluten molecule looks very similar to the thyroid molecule, so I am told. Often the body can get confused between gluten and thyroid. So your body is saying, I don't want gluten, and it's like your thyroid, it's really looking like gluten. I don't want it, so I'm going to go after it. So, and what I was like during the time when I had active Hashimoto's, at that time there was less research, and I was like, is this just a fad? Like, I feel better out gluten, but that could be for some other reason. Like it's just not a great food for me in other ways. And so I did antibody testing, because the way they can truly diagnose Hashimoto's is that they test your antibodies to your own thyroid and see what they are. If you're not in a Hashimoto's like flare up or like sustained level of illness, then you're going to have like very low numbers. And if you are having like an autoimmune pattern with Hashimoto's, then you're going to have very high numbers of like antibodies against your own thyroid. So I took the testing when I was like originally diagnosed, and I was consuming gluten, and the numbers were very high. And then later I got tested again when I had been off gluten for quite a while, and the numbers were very low. And then I was like, I'd really like to eat some gluten. Let's really make sure this is true for me. So I went back on the gluten, got tested again, and they were really high again. And I was like, okay, obviously there's a connection here, for me at least. But I hear from more and more people and providers that yes, that's a very common connection. So I recommend you working hard on your anemia, if you have any, working hard on your supplementation with a good provider, whether it's through herbs or like vitamin supplements, and try eliminating gluten and see if that improves how you're feeling at all. It can be very hard to tell. Like for me, I would start eating gluten again and I would seem fine. And then after like 4 or 5 weeks, like I would start losing hair, a common symptom of low thyroid Hashimoto's. I've got plenty of hair, but still, it's like my body is not happy. And my skin would get drier. So just feeling like that thyroid functioning going down. Beyond that, I think that acupuncture is very supportive for working on reversing the thyroid inflammation process that's going on there. And that is one of the reasons why I'm currently in school to become an acupuncturist. Yay. So I look forward to being able to offer that as part of my healing toolkit. Other key ways to deal with it include flower and gem essences that are more specifically tailored to your needs, your emotional needs. But my goals when I'm helping people with flower and gem essences is to like get rid of that dullness and apathy, which blood cleansing can help for sure. And the protocols in that are pretty specific. So I wouldn't just like start randomly taking black walnut. That is a protocol that I learned from Matthew Wood, and he is a great herbalist and teacher. You want to get rid of that dullness, and you want to get back a sense of like your zest or lust for life because that has been diminished. And my theory on like why women are so much more likely to have Hashimoto's has to do with internalized oppression of the voice. So we're in a sense attacking our own voice. We've been taught, don't talk like that, don't get angry, say it nicely. If something bad happens, there's not a lot of options. Your voice can be the enemy. Like one of the key ways to like control women is to like remove their voice. So when we internalize that, it can be we're like energetically kind of clamping down on our own center here, and then our that affects our metabolism because like the thyroid is there getting less energy or saying like hey, like settle down. I think it's just like by proximity to your throat. And the reason why I believe this to be the case is because I had been working on trying to clear my Hashimoto's for years, and I'm really good at clearing my own health problems with the help of providers and teachers. But I was really having a hard time with this. And a lot of people say autoimmune disorders, you can't really do anything about it. I disagree. When I finally spoke out about abuse that I had been experiencing, the Hashimoto's cleared right then. And it resolved like some other really intense health problems that I was having around blood sugar issues. So the thyroid is located in your throat, your voice center, chakra, like energy center. But that organ it governs your will or your metabolism, your speed, your power. So like by reducing our voice, we are dampening our power. We want to be able to develop a strategic way of using our voice, because there is not the support in our culture to just say whatever we feel like. We just don't have the privilege that like a man would have to be able to do that. We just have to, like, I think, work hard to say what we need to say and want to say, because it's not just about getting our needs expressed, it's also about getting like our desires expressed, and doing it in a way that's going to be like the most effective and the most beneficial for us. So where flower and gem essences come in is that they are excellent for supporting emotional health needs and like bringing back like the excitement in life. There's so many different things, and I really think it should be personalized. So it should be about like, what are your personal goals, like what makes you feel alive, because you got to crack through that apathy to get well. And that's not to say that everybody's going to be able to get over their Hashimoto's, but more people are able to do it. And so I hope that with the help of knowledgeable and compassionate, supportive providers, because you might need some different modalities, like somebody to really watch those labs in a way that's like in line with your goals, and maybe like an acupuncturist, and maybe somebody who's better at the flower and gem essences and herbs, and really looking at managing your anemia, keeping your blood very strong. There are different lab standards for men versus women. What would be considered anemia for a man could be considered normal for a woman, which means that many people can be kept at kind of a low level of energy just because you physically do not have the support as blood to keep you feeling strong. So find a provider who's willing to like get your blood to a place where you're not just like skating by. You are strong, you're vibrant, you're full of the necessary, building blocks to having a healthy body. So anemia is healed. You need that. Blood is cleansed. There are herbs that can help with that. Acupuncture can be a great support, and flower and gem essences to help you get over your apathy and thrive. And this will have the end benefit of improving your metabolism and getting you to a healthier weight that feels good and makes you feel like your body is yours again. But I promise you that if you really want to move through this, you need to find a way to live your best possible life, even if you're going through difficult times, even if you're struggling. There's ways to live a more exciting, more fulfilling life. It's really gratifying to see people start to do this. You can learn more about flower and gem essences at brownbearherbs.com. And if you're curious about learning how they work, I recommend you try our plant meditation club, because we do like taking an unknown flower and gem essence every month and other herbs throughout the month, and you learn to like tune into your body and trust your own intuition and wisdom, and learn how your body and mind can shift and learn so much from different nature medicines. So fun. So I'm wishing you a healthier body, healthier metabolism, but like what that's going to come with and come out of is strong blood, clean blood, and like flowering in life. I'm really excited for you because I know you can do it too. Have a great day.